Welcome to the Confidence Through Health podcast. My name is Jerry Snyder. As a health, wellness, and sports performance coach, my goal each week is to bring you experts to help you take control of your health and build your self-confidence. Thanks for including me today on your journey to better health. I want to say thank you to Social Media Cowboys for sponsoring this week's episode of the Confidence Through Health podcast. If you need help with a website, if you need social media needs for your business, if you need help with AdWords, SEO, all those things that you know you should be doing, but you are too busy to do or you're too confused about, they are the experts that you need in your corner. If you're interested in launching a podcast, such as mine, they help me edit my podcast and do a fantastic job making sure that all of the technical side of it is handled and we launch a nice, neat, edited podcast episode each week. So I want to thank Social Media Cowboys for their continued sponsorship of the Confidence Through Health podcast. You can find them at socialmediacowboys.com, or you can find them as well with other sponsors at confidencethroughhealth.com. All right, Miguel, I want to thank you for being a big guest on the Confidence Through Health podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. Super excited to be a part of this.
So one of the things that drew me to what you're doing and to how you're helping people is that you have gone through this yourself, right? And
yeah.
and I always find that we may have this thought of what we want to do with our life, and then something happens and it says, oh wait, hey, now my passion is actually going in a little bit different direction because it actually took me through the deep dark trials of life to be able to come out and go, okay, wait, if I can do it, I can help somebody else do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, life can be pretty unpredictable. Just like you said, you may be so set on a certain path, especially high achievers, type A personality people. And a lot of those individuals run into some kind of health detour. I've seen it happen with so many people, and that's what happened to me. So yeah, very, very true.
Yep. And you were already helping people, right? As a personal trainer. So like you already had this mindset of health is important, taking care of people is important. But then you find yourself in a situation where like, I can't move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a crazy experience. And just to give people a 50,000 foot overview of who I am and kind of what I do. My name is Miguel Bautista. I run CFS Recovery, and we help people dealing with a lot of mysterious, debilitating symptoms like brain fog, where no matter how much they sleep, they wake up feeling completely mentally drained, or fatigue, where no matter how much they rest, they feel like a zombie, along with just dozens of other symptoms that don't make sense. And, especially for people who are going to the doctors and they're trying to figure this out, but the doctors are looking at them like they're kind of crazy. Yeah. So a lot of frustration, can start to feel pretty hopeless at some points. But, I just want to let people know, if you're dealing with some of these things, it's actually more common than you think. Right. And you're not crazy. It's not all in your head. What I do is, I help people recover and go from just barely surviving, just getting through the day, to truly thriving and living their best lives. So I'm actually fully recovered myself from my own health, nervous system issues. I dealt with like over 50 symptoms at one point. I was like completely bedridden for 8 months, hospitalized, being spoon-fed by my grandma. And I had to learn how to use a wheelchair at first, then a walker, walk on my own 2 feet, and just completely build my life from scratch. But that was several years ago. Now I've been able to help thousands of people online overcome this themselves. And the people who typically get this, it's type A personalities, right? People who push really hard. They'll actually get some symptoms, and internally they're like, okay, I got to overcome this challenge. I'll push even harder.
Right.
And then that only digs people deeper into the hole. So it's awesome to be here. I went from surviving to thriving, and today I'm living my best life. And it's been a long journey to get here, which I'm really happy to dive into.
Well, and one of the things you said is that it's a couple of things. One is that like you can go to the doctor and everything can quote check out normal, but you know that something's not right. But and they may say it's all in your head, or it's like, okay, just go get some sleep.
Hmm.
but you've pushed yourself beyond the point of just a normal 24-hour recovery is going to take care of everything and get you back on your feet.
Exactly. And some people might hear this and they're like, well, what does that even mean? Push myself too hard? How did I just hit this complete wall? And for people, or typically high performers, type A personality people, people just trying to squeeze the most out of the lemon of life.
Right.
One thing they don't realize, or that is kind of their blind spot, is just how full their plate is without realizing it. To them it's normal, but you take
Right.
their schedule and the things going on in their brain versus like the typical person, it's like 5 times more activity. And so
Yeah.
from different things, like maybe long work hours, maybe their diet, maybe lack of sleep. A big thing people miss is the internal pressure they put on themselves
Right.
to kind of be the best version of themselves. Eventually, it kind of just sets off this alarm in the nervous system where it goes, okay, there's too much going on here. We need to slow this person down. And we're just going to put limiters on the body. And
Yeah.
so, really, really common for that to happen. And then that starts the whole spiral of trying to figure out what's going on,
Mhm.
trying to Google symptoms, being
Right.
rejected from doctors, and then slowly kind of losing that high performing person you used to be, and it can snowball from there. If you don't get under control.
And I'm sure you've seen it. It like when it starts to snowball, then it becomes like, okay, something's wrong with me. Like I don't know what's wrong. And you spend a lot more time in your head going through narratives versus taking that moment to slow down, stop, and say, okay, maybe I just need to rest
Hmm.
and recover.
Exactly. Yeah, and those people who typically get this, like they already have an overactive mind. So when
Mhm.
they can't participate in the things they were used to participating in. All that energy gets redirected to this now main priority project, which is the health,
Yeah.
right? And it's a double edged sword because now you're googling things, you're researching, you're trying different supplements,
Right.
and when nothing is working and you start to feel worse and worse, it's extremely frustrating. You might start asking yourself, like, is this really happening to me? Like, why me as
Mhm.
well? Like, I'm out here trying to make the most of my life. I thought I was taking care of my body. I'm trying to, become the best version of myself, but why am I getting punished for that? It's my body
Yeah.
working against me. And
Right.
so that's something we really try to teach people and educate them on is like why your body is even feeling these symptoms in the first place, right?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Because the more you understand your body, the better you're going to be able to deal with these situations. And actually, what we found is your response to the symptoms and learning to kind of take your foot off the gas pedal
Mhm.
very strategically. It's actually going to make you more productive, not less
Right.
productive.
Right.
So we really try to teach people this stuff.
Well, and for people that are typically like that, it's like you get used to I'm doing this project or I'm doing this process and I see a physical result happen. And so I can continue to boom. Okay, I did this. These steps created this outcome and boom and boom and boom. You keep going. But when it comes down to chronic fatigue, and a lot of chronic fatigue puts so much pressure on your nervous system, like you said, that, that's internal stuff you can't see. And so it's hard to grasp what's going on. You don't see that stuff. And so you keep going towards what you can see and it just piles on so much. And like I've gone through this recently as a elite athlete, and I pushed myself and I pushed myself. I pushed myself in a race to where I tore my Achilles in the race.
Ooh.
And then like I was like, nope, okay, I'm gonna get this fixed. I'm gonna come back as quick as I can. I got another race on the schedule. I can't, and I kept pushing and kept pushing, kept pushing. And then finally did a race in this past December where I was like, my body said, enough.
Hmm.
Like, and I did the race on a Sunday and I showed up at my chiropractor the Monday and he was like, what in the world did you do to your body? He was like,
Yeah.
you are so out of whack. Like,
Hmm.
what? And I was like, oh, well, I did. And I didn't take that. I kept pushing for another couple of weeks. And then my body kept saying, no, 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 no. And then finally I took 10 days completely off of all exercise, which I had not done since I tore my Achilles, but I did it with a different mindset. Not, okay, I tore my Achilles. I got to recover and get back.
Hmm.
I did it with, I'm taking time off. I don't know when I'm going to run again. I'm just going to relax. I'm just going to be calm And I started running about 3 weeks ago, and with a different mindset of, I don't have a race on the schedule. I don't have a plan. I'm just trying to make through. And I told my PT yesterday, actually, I was like, I'm 5 days of running in a row without pain. And I don't know when the last time I did that.
Yeah, that's a perfect situation we could learn from as well. Because a lot of people would see that and be like, oh, that's an Achilles problem, right?
Mhm.
We just need to strengthen the Achilles versus
Right.
going even deeper. What drove that injury? Was
Yeah.
it really the Achilles? Yeah, but on a deeper level, it was like that mindset of just continually pushing through.
Mhm.
And just like you said, a lot of people, they focus on doing more to improve their health, like taking
Mhm.
supplements, following protocols, biohacking.
Right.
I can't tell you how many friends I have. They're biohacking, taking peptides. They're skipping breakfast and lunch and not drinking water and not sleeping. I'm
Right.
like, dude, like
Yeah.
that's crazy. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, they come in with this. A lot of people, especially in today's world, they come in with this mindset of like, okay, input equals output, which
Right.
which can make sense for a lot of people. It's like you do the work, you get the reward. So if you're not getting results, if you're not feeling healthier, you probably need to do more of that thing.
Mhm.
So
Right.
people are like over optimizing so many things without having the basics, trying all these supplements. They're exercising way beyond how much they should be.
Yeah.
So from the outside, the health stack looks pretty impressive, but internally they're just like exhausted because they're
Mhm.
redlining their engine.
Yeah.
And so what we really try to teach people, and this really helped me in my life, just go at a more sustainable pace. I think emotionally and mentally. Physically, I'm actually doing more than I used to, but it's just a different mindset. It's the body doesn't get optimized and doesn't heal long term because of what I'm doing, but like more so the state that it's in. Like,
Mhm.
is it always in a high cortisol state? Am I always
Right.
stressed out? Or do I take the foot off the gas pedal? Right.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize that taking my foot off the gas pedal was actually very productive. It's
Yeah.
almost like that the bow and arrow strategy, that archer he draws a
Mhm.
string back. Seems like things are going backwards, but that's only so you could propel yourself even further
Mhm.
into your goals and other things you're doing without burning yourself into the ground. So
Right.
it's just another way to look at things.
Yeah. So how many people would you estimate are dealing with chronic fatigue syndrome?
Millions. There's literally
Yeah.
millions, and some people. There's different stages to it. I just did a research study on this, but there's like 100 million people who are dealing with something like burnout. Like they feel
Mhm.
some kind of symptoms, especially in today's society. They may not necessarily be at that point where they're having to say no to activities or cancel plans. That's a little more severe, but yeah,
Right.
there are tens of millions of people dealing with this. They usually find us when they're deeper in the trenches, where they are
Mhm.
canceling plans, where the weekend comes and they're completely wiped out.
Yeah.
Like they can't even have hobbies or extracurricular activities because they're so drained from just a typical work day.
Yeah.
Um, so there's different severities to it, but a bulk of people, uh, especially if they're feeling some brain fog or it's 3 p.m. and they're reaching for that fourth or fifth cup of coffee and they're
Mhm.
still feeling drained, like those are some pretty good indicators that someone is dealing with this, and you would want to get ahead of this before it starts to snowball, because that's really the only way to kind of turn this around. Either you take your foot off the gas pedal, if you even know how to do that. Like
Mhm.
if your
Right.
operating system is pedal to the metal, blood, sweat, and tears, that's what it's been your whole life. It's very difficult to even take half a day off. Like
Yeah.
taking a half a day off actually feels more stressful than continuing to do whatever you're doing. So it's like
Mhm.
uh, changing someone's mindset about that. But yeah, typically we catch people when they get pretty severe. Like,
Mhm.
some people they are bedridden. Some people are couch bound. Some people have difficulty cooking food every day. Uh,
Mhm.
Other people they're still working, but the common theme with all of these different kind of demographics is they know something is off with their body.
Yeah.
Their quality of life is definitely lower because their capacity is limited, both physically and mentally and emotionally. 'Cause
Mhm.
things that didn't used to bother them really bother them. And their capacity feels like it's maxed out all the time or it's on the
Right.
edge. So
Right.
there's a lot of people dealing with this.
And it's you mentioned this earlier, and it's something that I've experienced before in my life too, is it like you think that you're going to be more productive until you actually
Yeah.
stop and truly recover, and then you realize, oh, if I add these little breaks in to make sure that my nervous system is getting recovered and repaired and put at ease, then I can come back and be more. It may be a smaller time period, but I can be more productive in that smaller time period.
Hmm. Exactly. And the interesting thing is, even if someone starts to understand that, where they're like, yeah, the way I'm going about life, it's probably not sustainable. Like that
Mhm.
makes sense to me. But now the next kind of challenge comes up where they fall into this trap thinking like, I've been a certain way my entire life, and that's got to be great results. Like
Right.
as a high performer at work, got good grades in school. They think that's just their permanent personality. So it becomes their identity. So when someone like you or me, or they read something online that suggests, hey, should probably dial it back a little bit if you want your health to get back to normal, they kind of panic,
Yeah.
because they're like, if I don't have 47 browser tabs open in my brain at all times,
Right.
if I'm not constantly like pushing and pushing into life, like who am I? Like, am I just going to lose myself? But at the same time, they're kind of ashamed to admit that, other people can relax and take weekends off and enjoy like a football game with their friends. How come
Right.
I'm stressing out? Like, what does that even feel like, being relaxed? So I thought the same thing. I thought I would have to like completely get rid of the old Miguel and become a whole new person. But
Mhm.
what nobody tells them is that you just have to transform who you are into something better. So you're building on top
Mhm.
of who you already are, right? I just had to create better habits mentally and physically and emotionally. So when you learn to regulate your nervous system that way, um, you'll be able to keep your analytical strengths. You'll still have that grit and determination, but you're going to use it strategically, and
Yeah.
you're going to be able to use it versus it use you and kind of run
Mhm.
you into the ground. So
Right.
that's going to free you to actually rest when you need to without feeling guilty or like you're losing yourself. You become even
Right.
more effective.
Right. Well, and that guilt piece is huge, right?
Yeah.
Like because whether it's ingrained in like how we were brought up and taught by our parents that you have to do these things, or the school system, or whoever, like, but I think we've all can look back and go, okay, I was taught to really push, really push, really push. Um, and and then those confines are taken off, right? Whether it's the school or the sports area, or you're out of your house, so you're out on your own. And like you said, nobody teaches you how to regulate the nervous system at that point
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
go, okay, I'm on my own. When do I actually stop and relax?
Yeah. Exactly. And especially with today's society, with technology and social media, it's a very fast paced world. And just the way the brain works, humans weren't designed to have this much stimulation, which
Right.
is why you're seeing so much like anxiety in society, like things like depression, um, things like chronic fatigue. Um, a lot of people are getting these like long COVID is a big demographic we work
Hmm.
with.
Hmm.
Um, so like people got the virus and then they just never recovered because their
Yeah.
body was already nearly maxed out. And
Hmm.
all it took was like the straw that broke the camel's back, which was something like a virus, could be a
Yeah.
traumatic thing, anything. But our nervous systems, a lot of society, their nervous system is a little bit more fragile than it used to be just because it's so maxed out.
Hmm.
And people feel guilty taking days
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Well, and all it takes is for you to travel somewhere, like and I pick an island, but you travel to an island and you see people that are just like carefree, and it seems like, and you're like, they're not making near the money that I'm making, or they're not living the life that I'm living. They don't have the things that I have, but they're so happy. And it's just like, yeah, because they understand how to maximize what they have for what they want to do. And we come back and we're in the rat race again, and we're like, oh my gosh. And then you feel like you need a vacation from your vacation, because like, yeah, you relaxed, but you like, we're trying to stuff so much recovery into that you get back and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, now I'm overwhelmed again.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I remember, because I was sick for about 4.5 years. I went from one of the top personal trainers in the whole company. So I
Mhm.
was the guy people went to for support and help. And I had full days. So on the outside, like very quote unquote successful.
Right.
Right. And that was the goal for so long. It's like make money, have that status,
Mhm.
be the best in whatever I do. But when I was lying there bedridden for months, just staring at a ceiling in my grandparents' house, getting spoon fed because I was so sick. Some days I couldn't even lift a spoon to my mouth, or
Mhm.
else my whole body felt like it was on fire. Heart rate would jump to like 150 just reaching for the plate. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes I'd be lying there and I'd be like, I would trade all the money in my bank, everything I have, that car sitting outside in the driveway that I can't even drive. I would trade
Mhm.
all of that to just have a single day of feeling normal, to be able to sit up at the table with
Right.
my family for dinner and just laugh and
Yeah.
feel the wind on my face outside. So for a lot of people, you know, sometimes it takes maybe you don't have to go that extreme and wait till it gets to that point, but you'll have these times where you're like, man, with all these symptoms I'm feeling, you start to decide like, is it worth continuing to push in this
Right.
direction I'm going? Right. And in 6 months, you just have to think about it like, what does your life look like in 6 months if you continue on this trajectory and not kind of course correct here?
Yeah.
Right. That doesn't mean completely stop your pursuit of what you're doing, but just like maybe slow down a little bit. Maybe don't redline the engine the whole time.
Mhm.
Maybe like stop to put gas in the car every now and then.
Yeah.
Um, but for some people, because I've also worked with lots of high performance, like there's this one guy, shout out to Max. He's okay with me sharing the story. He
Yeah.
owned a space company. Like they were building this technology for spaceships
Right.
and satellites. He got this,
Yeah.
right? And he was like, well, I have to be perfect in everything I do, or else a satellite blows up.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
like even a chair he's sitting on, he's like, why did they design it like this? They should have put the screw over here. So almost everything would
Oh,
stress
wow.
him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it got to the point where he was running his company from the laptop in his bed because he couldn't walk. And he was about to fold his company in a few months if he
Mhm.
didn't get better.
Yeah.
But we worked together because he was an engineer. Everything clicked. We were like, okay, this is what's happening to your nervous system. Here's why probably shouldn't just keep pushing through this because it's only
Right.
going to lead to one place. Like,
Mhm.
let's tweak a few things, let's take our foot off the gas pedal. And once it kind of clicked with him, I mean, he was riding his bike within 3 weeks, still felt symptoms. He
Sure.
was riding his bike. He was working full time within a few months. And then he was able to not fold his company. And a year later, they got like a fundraising round, millions of dollars for the companies. And that would have
Nice.
folded up
Yeah.
if he didn't make that adjustment. And that's
Right.
that's just one of the stories of somebody who is pretty set on a path, and they got that wake up call of like, okay,
Mhm.
it's not sustainable. I'm going to do this stuff even if the company suffers right now. I
Yeah.
have to put my health first because that's the foundation of everything.
Right.
So that was a really cool story. And there's so many people like that who need that wake up call, and
Right.
then they could go on to do even bigger things.
Well, and that's what I was about to point out is that what I'm hearing is that it doesn't mean you have to give up on your goals and dreams.
Yeah, exactly. And what's really interesting, we are talking about this towards the beginning here. It's like you might feel like you have a pretty set path where it's
Mhm.
like, okay, this is how life is going to go. This is my game plan for the next 5 years. I'm going to do this,
Yeah.
this, this. And then some health things happen where it just limits your ability to execute.
Right.
It might actually lead you to better things. So, for
Right.
example, I was a top personal trainer, but I was capped with the amount of money I was making. Then I
Mhm.
got really sick for a year. I was about to go back to personal training because that's what I knew.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could already feel it in my body. If I go into personal training in the same environment, I'm going to end up sick again. And
Yeah.
I can't afford to do that. So let me learn something completely different. I'm going to learn videography. And it was like a hobby.
Yeah.
Anyways, that led down a whole 2.5 year side quest of running a video production company, which that then led to me being like, okay, I know marketing and video. Let me make videos about how I recovered and
Right.
helping people. So then that led to the YouTube channel. And then it was just me. Then fast forward, that's led to like thousands of clients we've been able to help. And also just all the people who've recovered just off our YouTube channel. So it started with, no, I'm not going back to personal training. At least not right now. Let me take this little side tour. So Steve Jobs, he had this really famous quote: you can never connect the dots going forward. You can only connect them going backwards. So at the time, it didn't make any sense at all.
Right.
Like, personal trainer, videography, marketing, business, online business. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But now I see how everything lined up. So sometimes with these certain detours that are forced into your life, you know, you don't realize it, but it's happening for you.
Yeah.
As long as you're able to navigate and not just stop right there, right? If you can persevere through that and adapt with it and shift the way you do some things, like the way you go about life, man, this is like a springboard, if anything.
Right.
It is a springboard to get to the next level in life. And we see that with almost everybody we've worked with. It's like they feel like it's a roadblock, and now like, what the heck do they do with their life? But then it gives them this new purpose. They find out what they really want to do. And also, what do they want to get out of life? Because sometimes it's not just all money. It's not just status.
Right.
When you're not able to do so many things, now you start to crave like experiences with people. Like now, I am just as happy sitting in the backyard, cooking steaks, or even just sitting around a fire with some good friends. That's more exciting to me than like traveling around the world. It's the simple things. And you realize that stuff was there the whole time. It was accessible, but you didn't appreciate because you didn't have that time. Because you're so busy sprinting through life.
Right.
Yeah. Makes you change the way you look at the world in your life.
So do you think that it's, and you've said this, you've seen this with a lot of different people that have gone through this, but do you think that it's in the moment, right before you realize that how fatigued you are and how much you're pushing through, in that moment, you're just, this is the only thing I can think of. This is it. There's no other way, and then when you actually calm the nervous system, it allows those ideas to start popping.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Because you're more open to it as well. And at first, most people, including myself, they'll be shut off to this whole idea of, you can change your nervous system. You could heal and improve without all these medication supplements. Sometimes you need it, but a lot of times you really don't. And typically, here's what I see people do over and over again. And I want to be clear, I did all of this myself. So I'm not judging anybody. This is just the path most people take. But first you start noticing the symptoms. Then it starts really getting in the way of life, right? And then you find yourself going from specialist to specialist, hoping somebody finally tells you what's wrong. So it becomes this merry-go-round for sometimes a couple of years, if you're lucky, maybe a few months, but the tests keep coming back just like normal. So now you don't just feel physically sick. Now you actually feel crazy because nothing is showing up, right? And then usually after that, number two is, okay, you start to take matters into your own hands. Like, I'm going to research this. I'll be my own doctor.
Right.
So you start taking all these supplements, and then you're spending this money on like private treatments, making your own like kind of cocktail recovery treatment. And you're spending thousands of dollars on things that promise to fix you. And they might actually give you a little boost for a little bit. A lot of times they don't though. And when they don't, you can feel actually even worse because they're, interacting with each other. But now you've added another layer of challenge, which is mentally, you're like, man, I really am a rare case. Like nothing works for me. So now that's in your belief system. So you got the physical and the emotional part of it. And then lastly, like the next part, usually before they find information like this, is they do what they know best, which is, let me just try to push through this.
Right.
I've willed my way through so many situations in life. I know how to like, dig my heels and just stay strong. Like I'll just break out of this. I'll just power through like I always did. But, that only pushes people further into this because the body pushes back. Like you can't really beat that nervous system. So one good day where they just go and do a whole bunch of stuff leads to like 3 bad days.
Right.
And then they bounce back. They try to make up for those bad 3 days, go even harder. Now they're out for a week. And the thing is, now they're pretty terrified. Like, they start to lose trust with their body, like second guessing what things are actually going to do. So the reason why none of those work is because all of those things, they approach they deal with just symptoms. They don't actually address the source of what's causing those symptoms. And that's typically where they find someone like us, where once you understand this is your nervous system essentially stuck in survival mode. A lot of these symptoms, those are actually limiters trying to reduce your activity, right? Yeah. But it's hard to interpret that. Our nervous system, it doesn't speak English. It's a very primal language of like symptoms. So the nervous system is actually doing exactly what it's designed to do when it perceives things as danger, when it's overloaded. So the problem is it doesn't know how to turn that off. So that's what we really try to help people with. It's like, how do you turn the dial down on this hypervigilant state your nervous system is in? But first, before we even do that, we have to teach you like how these symptoms even came about. So we teach them about like your stress threshold. We teach them about the symptom loop, where symptoms on one hand, they get symptoms. Now they start almost panicking about it and you get into this downward spiral mentally. But all those emotions lead to more symptoms, which leads to more emotions. And, so a lot of it is education based, but also like walking them through, hey, this is how much you should do in a day based on where you're at. If you're still kind of working, if you're feeling these symptoms, here's what the ideal stuff for you to do is based on like what you like doing. You don't have to meditate for 2 hours a day. So we build like really tailored plans for them too, or we teach them and they just build it themselves. But that's something that they found really helpful. It's like, it leaves out any chance of them overthinking it when they're being given a plan and it's updated every week.
Yeah. Well, and that's like the step number one sort of root cause is overthinking and over pushing through, right? Like, and so like, the more you can take that out of the picture and just be like, okay, and I love what you said, like it, because meditation may not be for everybody, right? Or, there's different, but there's so many different avenues to calm the nervous system, and so it's like, okay, well, try it. If it doesn't work, try the next thing. If it doesn't work, try the next thing. There's going to be something that clicks, and then lean into that. And if you just, take everything out of and just go like, okay, this is all I have to do. Just boom, boom, boom. Just do this. Don't overthink it. And know that, like, I would assume it's going to take a little bit of time. It's not going to be, okay, well, if I, in a normal thinking, if I stay up all day, all night, because I'm studying for a test, and then like, okay, I go take the test, then I come home and I crash and I sleep for 24 hours, I'm going to be all fine. Well, if your nervous system's not taxed, your body's going to recover. You're going to be fine. But when it is taxed, it's not as quickly as just get a little more sleep and you're going to be good. Just try it for one day and you're going to be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And if people think about it, it's not like you're completely normal living your life. And then the next day, all of a sudden you got these symptoms and your capacity went from like way up here to like cut in half. Like if it's interesting when we talk to people, we're like, well, what was your life leading up to you hitting this wall? And they're like, no, it was pretty normal. And we're like, okay, like, what did that look like? Just paint out the picture for like the last 3 or 6 months. And they're like, well, yeah, I guess I was burning the candle on both ends. I was taking pre-workout. I was working overtime. Also, like, I moved houses. My aunt died. And I also got a virus on top of that. We're like, okay. So now it's starting to make sense here. So there's always a reason for this. This doesn't just happen randomly to people. But that the scary part is like when you don't know why it's happening. But once you do know why it's happening, it becomes actually like a very logical solution forward.
Right.
And there are certain steps you could take. And people, a lot of times, because it's not talked about too much, sometimes you can feel like you're the only one in the world dealing with this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you tell your family like, hey, my arm is like burning, or I have brain fog, or, I just feel like somebody turned up the gravity a little more today. Your family's going to look at you like you're crazy, right? Yeah. As much as they love you, like, what do you mean you're feeling this stuff? Your tests are fine. You look fine.
Right.
And so it can feel like you're the only person in the world dealing with this. It can be a very isolating path. Or even the doctors, like, they're looking at you like you're crazy. But I just want people to know that there are so many people dealing with this. Like I thought I was the only one dealing with this for years. Then I find out the way I actually figured this stuff out is when I was at my lowest. Like I was in the hospital for about a month in intensive care unit because I deteriorated to the point where I literally couldn't feed myself, couldn't even go to the washroom. So I had like a bucket beside my bed, blindfold, earplugs 24/7. And after a full month in the ICU, the doctors, they just said, "Hey, Miguel, you're not going to die. There's something going on here though, but it's your organs are okay. Like the hardware in your body is okay.
Right.
This is probably like a software issue in your brain and nervous system." And they said, "Well, we don't have any more room for you here in ICU. We'd have to send you home. Or the other option is if you want to stay, work with the doctors, we got extra rooms in the psych ward, Miguel." And I was like, wait. What do you mean psych ward? Are you saying I'm crazy? They're like, no, we just have extra beds there because we can't keep you here.
Right.
If you want to work with a doctor and not have to go back and forth every day, that's the only option. I was like, well, but don't have another option, do I? So anyways, I ended up staying there for a whole month. As a volunteer, could have left anytime. But that's where I met the doctor who introduced me to this stuff. And he was a psychiatrist, but he was like unconventional. He was outside the box.
Right.
He just looked at me. He had my charts, all my tests, and there's a binder full of tests, thick binder. And he said, "Miguel, I looked at all your tests and scans. I know exactly what's going on here. You're going to be okay. All you have is a hypersensitive nervous system. It's why you're feeling these symptoms. Your body, the hardware is okay. Your organs, your heart, your lungs, everything checks out. That's why your tests are normal.
Right.
But we can't really measure your software. And there's a glitch in the way your brain is communicating with your body. And I've seen this before. You're going to be fine in no time." I was like, what? Here I am deteriorating. I think I'm going to die actually.
Right.
And I think I have this mystery 1 in a billion illness, but this doctor's telling me he knows exactly what's going on. But that's one of the biggest things that shifted my trajectory of this whole thing. Cause I was like going off a cliff. My health was bad.
Yeah.
Here, it's just like, it was almost like a rocket ship taking off once it clicked. And he just said, physically, your body is actually okay. Like you're not going to die. It feels like that. What it is, it's a glitch in your brain. Think of it like a software glitch. Now, we can't just snap our fingers and that software is updated. It's like your phone or computer. You got to leave it overnight, right? He's like, it's kind of like that. It's going to take some manual intervention, but your brain, it knows how to feel normal. It knows how to maximize like productivity and efficiency and do all that stuff.
Right.
We could do that without you burning out. So we just need to give it certain cues. We need to change the way you approach life in certain areas and you're going to be good. And from that, I went from bedridden and spoon fed to a wheelchair within a week to using a walker, feeding myself in another week, so 2 weeks. And then by the 4th week, I remember it was after my 22nd birthday, I was able to walk out of the hospital on my own 2 feet with a brand new lease on life.
Right.
But it's the information that changed everything that helped me update that glitch.
Right. Well, and it proves the point that the brain wants to fix itself.
Yeah.
And it's almost like we're so busy and we're so dialed in with our goals and our successes and our plans that we override the brain's ability to fix itself. Like you mentioned computers, it's like if you keep seeing this note that says, "Hey, you need to install this. Do you want to do it now or restart later at 2 a.m. or do it?" And you just keep ignoring it. Then, a week goes by and your computer crashes and you go, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" And you're like, "Oh, I didn't install the update." That's what your brain's doing. Like it's just, it's going to crash. And the only way your brain knows how to crash is to take the rest of your body down.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not going to be like, it's not, its way of whispering or tapping you on the shoulder lightly to slow down is like, let's give him some fatigue. Let's give him just a little bit of brain fog. But obviously, most people just ignore that, blow right past it. So it's like, all right, instead of tapping, we're going to knock. Okay, you're not listening. Let's like slam. Okay, and now let's yell. Okay, now we're just shutting this party down because this person ain't listening. They're actually doing
Yeah.
the opposite of what we're
Right.
trying to get them to do. So
Yeah.
like you said, it's it's like that update software button popping up and you're just like, nah, we'll do it tomorrow. Or it's like a car. We all know somebody, we've probably all been guilty of it, where that engine light comes on and we're like, nah, I could make it for another couple trips. But it's just imagine, goes from an engine light to now this light. And now you got a whole Christmas tree ornament on your dashboard.
Right.
And at that point, it's like, yeah, you're probably doing more damage than you realize just driving the thing versus pulling over, getting a checkup, and just tuning up a few things. So, yeah, that's most people ignore those first few lights until it gets until it's impossible to ignore, and you have to update it.
Yep. Well, in the in the car example, the expense is exponential if you ignore it, right? Because it's like, okay, if you get the brakes fixed when you first hear a squeak, it might be $150 new brake pads. But if you wait and you go past that and you got to get rotors and you got to get da-da-da-da, and then you could be looking at $1,000 and things that you've damaged. And same thing with your body. Like if you don't listen to that, maybe you need 2 days, right? The symptoms are going off, and it's like, okay, I just need 2 days to just get away from everything, relax, calm down, shut down, restore everything. But if you keep ignoring that, then yeah, you wind up in situations like yourself or other people that are, at the doctor's office and like sitting in bed, just can't do anything and can't focus on anything and struggling to get anything done, thinking that everything's wrong with them when it's just been, no, you've just ignored the symptoms, the signals.
Yeah. And going back to your previous point about, the wisdom of the body and your nervous system, it's there to try to help you. It's trying to give you the best tools and it's on your side. But how a lot of people feel when these symptoms first come up is they feel like their body is pushing back against them. Like it's their enemy, like it's punishing them. And I went through the same thing. I was super frustrated. I was like, I try to work out. Then I'd feel all these palpitations, shortness of breath, like headaches. And I was like really angry with my body. I was like, why are you doing this to me? I thought we're on the same team. At the time, I was like, haven't I done good things for you? Little did I realize I was completely burning it into the ground.
Yeah.
But your body, it's very smart and it wants to see you win if you allow it to. And that's when shifting the way you do certain things, like learning to take even just short breaks throughout the day, or not even just physically, but mentally. How do you take that mental break and not feel guilty about it? That's when you and your physical body can work in unison and you can become unstoppable. Like I look at my life right now, my output is actually way higher than what it used to be. I would say 4 to 5 times more than what I was doing before. Working out, traveling, working a lot, and using my brain quite a bit.
Yeah.
So the only reason I'm able to do that is because I know how to take strategic breaks throughout the day and kind of use that I kind of type A personality, but to my advantage. It's like a double-edged sword. I don't just wield it 24/7. I like turn it on. Then I also dial it back. The dial isn't left on 10 out of 10, 24/7 like it used to be, which is that's the situation people are in when they get this kind of stuff. But you learn to, okay, let's go from a 2 out of 10, because if I'm eating dinner at a table with my family, I don't need it to be a 10 out of 10.
Right.
Or if I'm going for a walk outside or going into the mall to get groceries or whatever, like I could turn it down to a 1 out of 10 for the next 10 minutes. Right. But most people don't know how to do that because all they know was 10 out of 10 their whole life. That's what leads them to this point.
Right. Well, and technology doesn't help it at that point either, because, I can't remember what it was. I saw a thing about one of the executives of a high level company that was like, no, if I email you at 2 a.m, I expect you to return the email. Right. Like I expect you to and so having that technology in our hand, we can be at the grocery store and we get an email and we got to stop and, oh, wait, I got to answer this for work. When, no, like, okay, like take the time, right? Like, and and that's why I tell people, when, like, if you're going to go for a walk, you're going to go for a run, you're going to exercise at the gym, like that's me time. That's my body's time. That's my health's time. Leave the technology away so that you're not tempted to, answer those things. And I fall for it myself too, of course, but,
Oh yeah.
um, keeping that boundary of no, 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 no. This is not the time for that. This is the time for me, and putting yourself as that priority. And I think when you do that, you can start to hear yourself better.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's so important. And something you said earlier as well, like overthinking is one of the traits of people who typically get this. And when the symptoms come on, that overthinking, now it gets amplified. Actually, everything kind of gets amplified once your nervous system is in this hypersensitive state. So people can start to like overthink and overanalyze. And a big one I see, especially for people trying to maximize their health, right? Is over optimizing for things that don't need to be optimized, like taking a bunch of supplements, but you're not drinking enough water, or having your basic meals throughout the day, or, hopping on a bunch of supplements, doing a bunch of treatments, I don't know, acupuncture, massage, but you're getting like 5 hours of sleep a night. So there's actually some very low hanging fruit. You'd be surprised. People would be surprised. Like a good night's sleep is probably much better than taking a whole bunch of like peptides and like collagen supplements and green supplements, but getting like 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Just sleeping properly for 8 hours or 7 hours. That will outperform all of these fancy things. So a lot of it is simplifying it too, not just mentally, but also physically, and just overthinking less, keeping it to basics. Again, that's like a superpower people have, but it is a double-edged sword to be able to have that analytical mind. So learning when to use it and when to dial it back. First of all, learning like how to do it. Like what does it even feel like to not be in that 10 out of 10 place all the time. So that way you have a reference point. And so that's something we really, really try to help people with as well. But it goes deep. It goes much deeper than just trying to fix symptom after symptom and playing whack-a-mole with all the different symptoms.
Right. Well, and I've had a lot of experts on in all different areas of health, in like to a T, every single one of them. Like sleep is one of the top 3 things that they say, like this is what you got to do for your health. Right. And the thing is, it's like, okay, I get it. It's super basic, right? It doesn't cost us anything other than just the time that we're asleep. And when you get proper sleep, most of the time, like you wind up being more productive so it's not, you're not trading off, oh my gosh, I'm losing an hour of productivity because I'm going to sleep a little longer. You're actually going to be more productive with your time when you're awake, because you're better rested and your nervous system's more, in tune with what's going on.
Exactly. And I already know what people are thinking. They're like, okay, sleep, I'm definitely going to prioritize that. Here's what might happen. Now you're going to take all the energy from doing the other stuff. Now you're going to try to over optimize sleep. I've been in this place, and most people get in this place where, okay, now we're tracking our sleep. Let's write down, let's wear a Fitbit. How much sleep did we get? How much deep sleep? Make sure I turn the lights off after 7 p.m. I need my blue light blocking glasses. I need to take my Epsom salt bath and take melatonin. And I was in a place where I was going insane. Like it felt like as the sun went down, it's like I was preparing to go into battle to make sure I slept. And then I ended up not sleeping because I was stressing out about sleep. So it's like one thing for people listening to this, just watch out for those things of, overly optimizing for that. Just something to think about. But sleep, you want to approach it with a, how do I say, it's just more chill approach. I've filmed like an hour-long training on how to improve your sleep and fix insomnia. That's a big one. It's like overthinking sleep, right? Which is, I've been there though. It's extremely frustrating.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then, the moments that you wake up at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning and you can't turn your brain off because you're thinking of whatever it is that woke you up, whether it's business related, relationship related, whatever it is that you're thinking through. And then immediate, you wind up going to, why can't I just go back to sleep?
Mm-hmm.
Right. The alarm's going to go off at this time. Why can't I go back to sleep? Why can't I go back to sleep? And then like you've already damaged your cycle enough to where, that day you're going to hit fatigue. Like it's almost
Yeah.
guaranteed, right? Your nervous system's already preparing to be like, nope, I'm going to shut you down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you could wake up at 3 a.m. and be like, oh man, I can't go back to sleep. How is this going to affect tomorrow? How about that meeting at 10 a.m.? Will I be able to hit that deadline? Should I take a nap tomorrow? Should I go just work right now at my desk since I can't sleep anyways?
Right.
So now you have this like logic tree with 100 different pathways that you go through, versus just being like, okay, let me just close my eyes and let at least my body rest.
Right.
So it can be easy to go down those pathways if you have like a more active brain.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so one of the things I want to make, because you said this earlier, as far as it affects millions of people. And so for somebody that's listening to this, that's thinking, oh my gosh, I'm the rarity. I'm the only person that ever deals with these things. Or it is so super common.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Super common. Yes. Like it is actually insane how many people deal with these types of things. And again, there's different levels of severities,
Sure.
but even just, at the high functioning level, like there are, I think I was looking at the study in the States, there's about 100 million people dealing with this.
Mm-hmm.
Where it gets more, where it starts to interfere in life is when you do have to cancel plans or you are wiped out on the weekend, or, if you have kids, they want to play with you and you're just like glued to the couch.
Yeah.
Or your work quality is dropping, but you don't know why, because it's the same hours, similar amount of work, but all of a sudden your capacity is lower.
Yeah.
Like there's so many people dealing with that. And the thing is, you don't really hear about it.
Yeah.
Like people aren't just going to talk about this at dinner, right? These are the kind of things people go through and they keep the stories to themselves until it gets really intense. And now they find these online communities and they're in these forums and things like that. But yeah, so if you're dealing with this, just know that I was there at one point. There have been millions of people who are also there at that point. That's why also I'd encourage them to check out our recovery YouTube channel, CFS Recovery. There's almost 2,000 videos on there. Pretty much any question people have would cover probably the topic you're dealing with. But yeah, and the best part is that as long as you've had your tests and scans done and you're cleared medically, you can absolutely come back from this. And actually even better than before. If anything, a lot of people, only once they recover, they're like, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm glad I hit that wall.
Right.
It's almost like the car broke down before it went off the cliff.
Right.
It was going off the cliff. So my body actually kind of saved me.
Yeah.
It forced me to stop, upgraded the wheels and tires and engine, and I was able to turn, and now I'm on a different trajectory because the one that I was on was, borderline reckless. And I didn't realize it. I was a frog in the boiling water. So they're very grateful for it, actually.
Right. So you mentioned the YouTube. So what other resources do you have for people that find themselves, learning that, okay, maybe I'm in this situation and I want to obviously start correcting it before it gets any worse?
Yeah. So I created something. And one thing I love about you, Jerry, is that, you're showing up for your audience. You're creating this content, offering tons of value to these people. So I wanted to do the same and give them a free tool. This is something that we use actually with our premium clients in our recovery system, but I want to give it away completely for free here. Like,
cool.
My clients might actually be upset that I'm giving this away, but I wanted to over deliver for you guys.
Yeah.
So it's something called the Recovery Roadmap Protocol. It's not for somebody who just wants a magic pill or a quick fix. Like if you're looking for something like that, this isn't it. Like this definitely takes some work. But who this is for, it's for somebody who is dealing with some mysterious debilitating symptoms, getting in the way of life, who's wondering like, am I the only one dealing with this?
Right.
I'm kind of living in between this world of I'm kind of normal, but I'm kind of not. Like I'm in between these two worlds. But if you're dealing with these symptoms, and you've been following advice and protocols and nothing is working and you're just really confused, this could probably be really helpful. So here's what you have access to. Part 1, it's called a recovery stage identifier. It's a short diagnostic that shows you where your nervous system sits on this, kind of severity kind of chart, right? So with that, it's also going to show you why what you've been doing probably hasn't worked, and also what you should probably be focusing on right now. But for a lot of people, even this alone, it helps them make sense of a lot of things they're feeling, because it's also going to explain, like, kind of like what we talked about today. It's going to make sense a little bit. Yeah. Now, part 2, that's what I'm most excited about. That's what I debated whether to include, but it's the personalized recovery report. It's the same internal tool we've used with thousands of people. So we've been able to see patterns, roadblocks on all kinds of different severity levels, but it's basically a detailed, personalized analysis based on, your situation, like your symptoms, how long you've been dealing with this for, your roadblocks, and shows you what you need to change, what to double down on, and also the exact order of those things. So it's like a decision-making framework for what to do. Right. But yeah, I set up a page specifically for this podcast. It's at www.cfsrecovery.co/confidence.
Cool.
And that's a specific link for you guys. So if you guys want that, you want all those free resources, then just head over to that website, and I'll share the link with you as well, Jerry.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate that. And it is something that so many people struggle with. And I thought about this earlier and didn't get a spot to put it in there. But I mean, I know a doctor that has struggled with this. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So like when you were talking about, you might have a doctor that doesn't know what's going on, or doesn't, you're trying to figure it out, but they're telling you everything's normal as far as the physical side, but they're type A, and some of them have been going through it. Some of them may not know they're going through it, right? Yeah. They may be sitting there talking to you going, yeah, I can't explain it, because they may not say this to you, but in their head, they're thinking, I'm going through the same stuff and I can't figure it out for myself. So how am I going to figure it out for you?
Exactly.
And so it's because it is super common, but like you said, it's something that nobody really wants to talk about.
Yeah. And, I think doctors are awesome. I think they're amazing at what they do. We've had dozens of doctors come work with us. Yeah. I just did a recovery interview with, she was a doctor in Puerto Rico, and another one, this lady was 86 years old. She had a PhD in psychology. But had this for many years. But this is the stuff they don't teach in medical school. Like they're busy, helping other things that can be measured with tests. That's where they specialize at. So they're super smart. Any of those issues, I'm always like, yeah, definitely go to the doctors. But when it comes to something like chronic fatigue syndrome or even long COVID, fibromyalgia, like that's really where we shine. And that's where even the doctors come to us for help for. They send people to us. All the cases they can't fix, that's where we specialize in. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Miguel, I want to thank you so much for being a guest. You've been it's tremendous information. It's great. And thank you so much for sharing the roadmap protocol with everybody.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for checking out the Confidence Through Health podcast. Please subscribe, post a review, share this episode with those you love who need a little extra help with their health journey. Visit allinhealthandwellness.com to learn more about the coaching programs that I provide. All episodes are produced by the Social Media Cowboys, your source for all online marketing needs. Go to socialmediacowboys.com for more information.